Well, good morning, Green Prix Goblins. It's that time of year again, right? This is the very beginning of October, so we only got a couple of weeks before we're going to be out at Volkswagen doing the Green Prix. This fall 2023 is going to run almost exactly like this spring 2023. But I'm going to try to go through everything as if you hadn't been, or just to refresh your memory a little bit. But once you get out there, you'll see the same kind of site, the same area, the same parking, etc. So I think it'll go even a little bit smoother. And I do want to hit on a couple of changes we've made since the spring from the feedback we've got from the team. So let's jump in. And I've got about a million things open here. So let's see how this works. Again, how to get there. If you're familiar, Bonnie Oaks Drive, the Redoubt Soccer Complex right here. And then you come in on Volkswagen Drive, the big Amazon warehouse is right here. That first roundabout, you go 3/4 of the way around, and then your first right turn, this access road will bring you in to the west side of Volkswagen, and that's where we're going to be, same as last time. Okay. This is an older picture, but it gives you an overview, and I'm going to update the maps and show you where we've moved things slightly. Again, basically the same, but you can see the pit area, that area toward the road. With the Goblins, it's not usually as big a deal. And right now, I'll tell you, we have 12 teams registered, which is a nice number when it comes to the slalom and drag race setup. We should have enough room to park everybody, at least the one support vehicle in the team, so you guys can set up here, put up your seats, your pop-ups, etc. And I would say spectator, mom and dad coming to watch, etc. If you've got a ginormous trailer, park it over here, but there's a lot of parking in this gravel area. The one thing we don't have this year that we had in the spring is we had a set of bleachers here and some over in this section. And apparently, I don't know why, but bleachers are the most impossible thing to get your hands on. So the ability to get them like we've had in the past is evaporated. So what we're going to try to do is spread out the spectator areas. So I recommend highly that you, your team, and for the parents and folks coming out to watch, bring one of those folding chairs. And again, we'll try to spread that out so everybody has a pretty good view of the action, right? Okay. Let's come back to this one. Let's jump over to some of the details. Then we'll talk about the drag slalom and circuit races specifically. Yeah, not the greatest picture, but I think it shows it actually pretty well. So you guys always hear me preach about using the website. Okay, everything I'm talking about here, save the very detailed maps that I'm going to show you, are available on the website. So you go to Green Spaces, just Google them, and if you look, one of the key things showing up, looky there. That was down at the Southern Bell, but look at those Goblins racing around. So you've got that. You can click on the Green Prix picture. Better thing, Programs, Green Prix, and then scroll down to Advisor Resources. And that's your wealth of information. Some other things on there. We do need volunteers if you know anybody that wants to help, especially Saturday afternoon, corner worker wise. But once you get to the Advisors section, the first thing you're going to see is the schedule of the day. Right? And then a course map, and I've got those pulled up already, and then some other details, just a quick run through the rules, the SUPs. Those really haven't changed all that much as far as the Goblins go. The presentation rubric, I'll tell you this, for the fall this year, we haven't changed it, but for the spring of 2024, we're going to totally revamp the Goblin rubric, right? It's getting a little old and tired. There's a directions to Volkswagen, which I'll show you. I showed you my kind of rudimentary picture, and then some videos. And this one, race prep, is generic for Goblins and F24s, and it talks about kind of getting your car ready and getting your team and brain ready for the Green Prix. Okay, so that's of value. And this one is Goblin specific, and I've seen some views on this, but not a ton. If we think back to last spring, especially in the slalom and in the circuit races, the Goblins, as those wheels wear, and especially if you put the wheels on without the washer between the plastic wheel and that linchpin, you start to get wear on the plastic faces of the wheel. And so this steps through how to make sure it's installed correctly, but also the idea of maybe adding another washer, another shim, so that the wheels are good and snug but roll freely. So you avoid this, right? Because I saw a lot of the wheels turning themselves, and that had a lot to do with the hitting cones, which is a penalty, or hitting another car, which is a penalty. So I would give the time to watch this and see about your front suspension and steering for the Goblins as you prepare. Okay, enough on that. Spring schedule. Told you I had a lot of stuff open. Okay, so ignore the March part. The idea here is the schedule itself runs the same as it did in the spring. So we've broken up the groups, and I know you don't know what group you're in yet, but that'll happen in the next week or so. You'll get some information from Green Spaces. If it stays at 12 cars, we're going to have 2 groups of 6, which makes for a little more time to get situated, get your presentation done, and get prepared for the drag and slaloms. The other thing it does is if there's 12 cars, we can run 11 heats. And that means every car will drag and slalom against every other car, every other team. So that's actually a nice setup, and it harkens back to the fall of 2022 when we did that. Okay, this last spring we had a lot more cars, we weren't able to do it. So this basic Group A, Group B, and we just split those up slightly to avoid the crush, but get there as soon as you can, get registered and get set up in the pit so you're ready for tech inspection and presentations. Okay, and those are kind of as ready as we've always done them. You guys don't care about the workers meeting? I do, but there will be a drivers meeting, and again, we don't have the bleachers, but look for the pickup truck with the American flag and me in the back waving with a bullhorn yelling at everybody. Okay, so we'll do a drivers meeting and go through this, but it should be quick because we're going through it now, right? So 10:45, drivers meeting should take 15 minutes, maybe a little bit more. Get yourselves ready, and we're going to shoot for an 11 o'clock start time for the Dragon Slaloms. And I'll talk through the flow of the races again, but it's the same as the last 2 iterations, right? You line up your cars, you do your drag race, you slowly move to the other side of the circuit, set up for your slalom race, back to the pit driver change area, and set up your next driver. Okay? And with, you know, all the different heats, it's not a rush to get that driver change done. There's a little bit of time. Again, if you have mechanicals, if you have issues during this period, our folks in the pits, Maddie, Michael, they will allow as much as we can you the time to fix it. If it's catastrophic, bad luck. But if it's something simple, we may be able to slide down your pair toward the end of, say, heat 3 to try to give you time to get fixed. We want everybody to get their shot at it. Okay. The Dragon Slalom, I'll talk through that. It's better with the pictures. And when we get done with that, we may get done right on time, even a touch early, but that's our lunch break schedule. And yes, you guys will be able to charge your batteries during that 1 hour battery charging time. What we'll do is then after lunch, come into, and when you see this form next time, 1, it'll have the right dates on it, but 2, it'll have your group, your team listed under the Group A, Group B. And we're going to do the same thing as last year. We're going to have those groups of 6 cars run in a small 7-lap circuit race. Okay, Group A will go out, they'll do their race, Group B will be getting ready. As Group A finishes, Group B comes out to the pre-grid, go, green flag, and they start racing their 7-lap race, while Group A is effecting their driver change and getting prepared to come out again. So 3 7-lap races. Now, the one thing I will bring to your attention is, and this is up to the race director, that's me, we're going to do the first race in random order, just like we did last year. What I am thinking about, and I'm leaning heavily toward, is to take, we have 6 cars, make 3 pods of 2, and I don't want this to get too confusing, but 6 cars, and that way, let's say car 1 and 2, of those 2, one of them will be the first place car. In the second heat race, cars 1 and 2, one of those will be either 3rd or 4th. What I'm saying is you'll get a chance to start the first 2, the second 2, and then the third 2. Again, this will be in random order, but you can see there's not going to be a lot of difference or gap. And because I think I want to get away from the fastest car starting in the back. Okay, it's not a penalty or a privilege. It's just going to be a random order of those 2 cars per little mini pod, and that'll mix up the starting order a little bit, but everybody will get a chance to start toward the front, toward the middle, toward the back. Okay, and I'll explain that more in the driver's meeting so I can confuse people even further. So we do those, right? 3 7-lap races, and then we're done, and we'll set the points just like we did last year for your presentation, drag and slaloms, and then the finishing order for the circuit races will rack out our top cars, right? And do, stay for the awards, because there's somebody out there who's going to get the Bill Perry Perseverance Award as well. So there's your schedule, right? And not too bad. Some slop time in there if things get fouled up. And do cross your fingers for good weather. Okay. What's next? Here's another. It's on the Green Spaces website. It's better than my map, but it gives you kind of the same overview. But it does have actual, you can see where we're actually driving here instead of my old MapQuest, whatever it is. Right? So there's directions. And then I'll show you this one, and we'll move back into the slides. This is a basic overview of the Goblin circuit. And what we've done is you can see the spectator areas, and we've named some of the corners. But it's going to be your somewhat oval like we had last year, with a little more space, as much as we can get away with for width of track, but not all that complicated. So out here, start-finish by the trailer with the start-finish tower. And then you run your 7 laps, and we will again ask the advisors to be there to help count the teams down. 6, 5, 4, 3. We will have the Barcom timing running if you get mixed up, or your short-term memories like me. But we want you guys to count your team down, and so when they finish and get the checkered flag, they can slow down and pull into the pits. And you'll do it the same as last year. Off of the back straightaway, enter the pit area. You can go back to your actual pit stall because there's time in there. And then as you come out, you'll come out. We'll line you up for your next race on the straightaway and give a little more stagger between the 1st through 6th cars. Because again, we're going to have the advisors push to get you rolling, but we want to make sure they can get out of the way, right? We don't want anybody getting run over, especially me. Okay, back to the slides. The big blue box is just to kind of declutter. What we're doing is setting up both courses on Wednesday and Thursday so that there's very little changeover. You guys really don't care, but I didn't want to confuse you either. So this isn't as pretty as that other picture, but you can see a couple things that we've done. Where'd my cursor go? There it is. If you remember last year, the start for the drag race was way down here, and there's a hill, and it rained the night before, so it was wet. So we moved it up a little bit, but there was a lot of slippage. So what we're going to do is push the start for the drag race up to basically where the timing tower is, where the SCCA trailer was. So it's flatter, and then same thing. Start signal. The pusher, 1, 2, 3 steps, whatever it is, we're going to have a first line. That's where you get your front wheels lined up. You get the go, 1, 2, 3 steps, and you got to let go of the car by the second chalk line. And that would be something, nice typo. That'd be something to practice, right? 1, 2, 3, let go of the car by no later than the second chalk line. If there's a false start, we've got those air horns. Wah! If you hear that, that means stop, and we'll give you one more try. If you foul the start twice, you're DQ'd for the drag race. So yeah, you drag race down. We'll have somebody down here. Last year we had Sean Cochran telling you to slow down. Once you hit there's going to be a set of pylons with checkered flags and a line across the track. As soon as you hit that, the drag race is over. So get off your throttle button, get on the brake, slow down, and just ease your way around this kind of tree pylon and set yourself up for the slaloms. And they'll be set up just like we've done before, where both lanes are slaloming back and forth. Okay? Then you finish that. Again, slow down, ease your way back to this staging and driver change area. So you can move the car and all your drivers over here. We've got plenty of room. If you do have something you need to fix quickly and you need to get back to the pits, go ahead, right? But let somebody in grid know, Maddie, Michael, Bryce, one of them, that you've got a delay so they can work you down the order, okay? Yeah. You notice, you look at slides, what do you see? You see typos. A drag race, drag fa. So that's it. When it comes to the slaloms, It's the same rules as we've used in the past. The pylons, the cones, orange cones, have a box prescribed around them, and they have to stay in that box in some form or fashion. So here's a very poor picture, and you can tell I had a lot of coffee this morning because my lines are all jiggly. But as you go through these series of cones, this is where the car would go through, in between them. And they're going to have those boxes around them. Now let me do this. This is risky, but I'm going to try it. If you finish your slalom and all the cones look like this, you're in good shape. If you finish your slalom and one of them looks like this, you're still in good shape. And what I'm saying here is, if the cones are standing and any part of the cone is still touching the box that it was around, that is not a penalty, right? You don't want it. That's very risky because it's more than likely it's going to end up looking like this one, but no penalty. Now, if you hit a cone and it's completely out of the prescribed box, or it's knocked over, and I don't care if it's knocked over and it's laying in the box, that doesn't matter. Knocked over is knocked over. Okay, yeah, I kind of messed that up, but right. Onto the circuit race. This is the same picture we used last year, and it just gives you an overview, but I'm going to give you a little more detailed version. And again, 3 7-lap circuit races like we did last spring. So here's the better map, if you will. And again, I know this is our setup map, so it's very detailed on where all the barriers and things go. But you can see, here's the timing tower again, the Barcom timing tower. And so we're going to stage the cars along this, what we might call the front straightaway. And that way we have more space to space you out and stagger you. And again, I'm leaning toward that mix of cars where everybody gets a chance to start in the top 2, 3rd and 4th, 5th and 6th. And so it's an even mix between all 3 races. Again, trying to spread out the spectator area so they can see more. Another note, the PA folks said they will bring a remote speaker for the pits, so you should be able to hear more of what's going on. And it's as simple as the go call. You go under the timing tower to start the race, and then you'll have 6, 5, etc. You count yourself down to the checkered flag, completing the 7th lap of the race. Once that's done, you ease your way down, slow down. Again, the green line is the course itself, and a little jittery from too much coffee. And then on that last lap after the checkered flag, just ease your way back into the pits. Group A will start their driver change procedures. As that last car clears, Group B will be rolled out to the front straightaway and set in their starting positions, and boof, off we go and do another one. Okay, so 3 7-lap circuit races, and then we're done for the day. So I hope that sets the stage for or answers any questions you might have. Of course, if you do have more, get a hold of Madison at Green Spaces. You can get a hold of me as well. I think everybody has my contact info at this point. I will, one thing just of note, for the Goblins it's not as bad, but there's still kind of a shortage, I think you could call it, of parts. It's worse for the F-24s, but so many parts not coming from England. So if you run into a problem and you think, I've got a suitable sub, please do ask. But there are some tires out there. There's some other bits and pieces that are just general hardware store. If it's just a hardware piece, just go ahead and get it and fix the car. But if it's something like a tire or a gear or something like that, let us know. We have a fairly good supply because we've been stocking up on these things, and batteries as well. Okay, let us know ahead of time. Please, please, please show up with your car pre-teched. What I mean by that is you go through that tech inspection checklist and make sure your car, as best you can, is up to speed, so it expedites the process of getting the car teched, getting your RFID tag on there, and now you're ready for the presentation. And just a little relaxation, go walk the course, see what it looks like. Okay, I think that should do it. And we are again looking forward to the Green Prix Goblins on the 20th of October. I should have put that date in there, shouldn't I? 20th of October, that Friday. We'll see you out there.